So, it is with great trepidation that I am going to try to do this neck. I've reprogrammed it. I have excellent work holding going on here. And so what I'm going to do, before the problem was my 0. So what I'm going to do is I just set a 0 on here, just like I'm supposed to. And I am having the truss rod go first, because I'll be able to tell if it's right in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and run it and not turn the router on, and I'm going to make sure that this thing is going down right where it needs to go before I do anything. I'm going to press pause, and then I'm going to turn on the router. So I'm not going to turn on the router and let it hit until I know that it's directly in the middle here. It should be. I've measured all the way down to the millimeter, so you can see whether or not I've done it right. Yeah, this is all still new to me, so I'm learning, but I have a brand new neck blank here, and it's actually way better than the other one, so I'm kind of glad this happened. It's way better, and I don't want to mess it up. So here we go. I'm going to bring you with me, and we'll see what happens. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. I'm going to come over here. We're going to take a look, see exactly where it's going, and I'm going to hit pause just in case. That's looking really good. Look at that. I paused it exactly where it needs to be. So guess what? I'm going to go ahead and let this thing do its thing. Looks like it's pretty much in the middle to me. What do you think? Could come up a little bit, but you know what? I think that's going to be just fine, because that means the rest of it's going to be in the middle too. So I'm going to put this camera down, and I'll pick you back up, because I'm going to get this thing rocking. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'll bring you back when it's actually cutting, and we'll see together whether this works out. Keep your fingers crossed. It's just kind of doing its thing. Going back. I think we're going to make it. It's definitely going to be better than we were before. So anyway, I'm not going to film this whole thing, but I'll bring you back when it's just about done. This is it. So it worked out pretty good. A tiny little bit. It was just not a little wide enough here, but that's like a quick round over. No big deal at all. If that's the worst thing. Now, also, I thought I put dimples in the program, but apparently I didn't, but this drilled out way better. It burned a little bit right here. That doesn't matter at all, because I'm actually going to need to drill these wider to fit the tuning machines. But, I mean, check it out. I just need to release it from the wood here. It basically cuts it down to the very bottom, and then I just take this and run it around the bandsaw to take it off of there. And then, of course, I'm going to be sanding it and profiling it and doing all that stuff. But I couldn't be more happy with that right now. So we are in business. That's Kristen Hirsch's neck for her guitar. And actually, this wood isn't hickory. It's basswood, and it is light, so it's going to add lightness to the overall guitar, which is going to be great. So anyway, I'm going to get this cleaned up and cut off of there, and I'll get back to you. So here's the neck. I just need to do a little adjustment for where the truss rod goes in. It's a little high, so I'm going to use that same tool I used earlier, this little flex shaft, and I have an 1/8 of an inch router bit in here, end mill, and I'm going to just make this a little tiny bit deeper right here, so this sits nice and flush in there. So let's do that.
Long days gone by, locked away inside, stifling my voice like no one cared to hear. All static and noise, trapped by my fears. I forgot the choice and held my nightmares near. There's no hope, gave my power to ghosts.
All right, so the moment that I have been waiting for. This is basically the reason, no, not the reason, the excuse for me getting this CNC machine was this, the fretboard. This is the piece, the fretboard that I'm going to use for Kristen Hirsch's guitar. It's a piece of eucalyptus. See how pretty it is? It is gorgeous, nice and hard. And it's going to look beautiful. But I got the CNC machine so I could do Kristen's logo right on the 12th fret. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this started right now. I have it programmed. I'm probably going to film it in little pieces. It's going to take a while. I'm just going to let it do its thing, and I'll film it and speed up portions of it and everything. But the first thing I have to do is get the bottom of this perfectly flat. I'm not really worried about the top very much, because once the bottom's perfectly flat and it's down, it's going to be radiused anyway, the top. And as long as all of the cuts are the same relative to the bottom, it'll be just fine, because I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be radiusing this fretboard anyway, and I'm gonna do not 9.5. 9.5 is typical Fender. I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but it doesn't really matter, because it's not going to affect this particular stage. But anyway, I'm going to take this over to the joiner, get it perfectly flat on the bottom here, so that when I put it on the CNC surface, it'll be good to go. And all the cuts will be perfect relative to the bottom of this. So I'll take you over to the joiner real quick, and I'll do that, and then I'll get this set up and we'll get going. Yeah, so here we go. Got to stoop down. So I think this is going to be the top right here. I like this pattern a little bit better. And I'm going to do the bottom of this, but I'm going to go ahead and put some witness marks on the bottom so I can kind of see what's going on. I have this really cool white pencil, because you wouldn't be able to see like a black one really. So I'm going to do that so I can see that it's taking off what it needs to take off. And then I'm going to run it on this joiner, and we'll see what's up. I'll probably speed it up. Here we go. See? Perfect. So that, I know for a fact, is perfectly flat. So I just took off like a 32nd or a 16th off at a time. No hurry, but yeah, now that's perfect. So, and like I said, I'm not going to go ahead and do the top of it because, like I said, the cuts of the slots and everything will be all the same relative to the bottom of this, and I'm going to be radiusing this top anyway. So let's go over to the CNC machine. Just wanted to give you a little update. I stopped the process. These fret slots, even though I got the right size bit, they're too wide. So I'm gonna cut those by hand, and I'm just gonna do the logo. So I'm just gonna film that. Okay, I'm gonna use this little Dremel thing and go in and clean some stuff up in here. That's pretty good. So I cleaned up that. I want to put more of a straight. Oop. Switch this over here. Let me see, what would be better? This is just some cheap tips here. Oh, dog's on something. Aren't they always? Let's see. That will fit in there. It's pretty much the thinnest one I have. Yep, we'll use that. Just got to be super careful. That's why this little thing's great, because you can hold it like a pen. It's pretty amazing. Just a little flex shaft accessory for the Dremel. I'm not going to tempt fate. I'm happy with that now. Beautiful. That's how it's going to be. Boom. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to epoxy fill Kristen's logo here. So I'll take you with me on that. I have a little surprise for the color too. You will see. I mix this epoxy. I'm going to make sure I get enough. Let's see. Turn that on. Make sure I tear that. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix this hardener. Whoa! Jumped out at me. With the resin. 50-50. Should be good. A little bit of that. 15 grams. And so we'll do 15 grams of that. There we go. Perfect. That is perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to use is this glow-in-the-dark powder with a little bit of this perloid and or this gold is what I'm going to use. So it's going to be this royal gold with some of this glow-in-the-dark powder. And yeah, it's going to be cool because there's going to be some hardware that's going to be similar to this stuff here. So it's kind of going to make it pop. And come on, gold is cool. So, and it's going to, this stuff here is just super intense. So I think it's going to be cool. It shouldn't change the color too much, but it should make it glow, which should be cool, like on a dark stage or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in there. Good amount of that. Close that up, and then I'm going to go for this gold, the gold powder. Let me clean this off a little bit. This is an old Rich Light offcut there. All right, go ahead and put some of that in there, and then I'm going to mix it up, see what it looks like. I can put this away now. Get that out of the way. Before I started building guitars, I never ever used to do anything with any epoxies or anything like that. I'm going to try to mix this up without getting too much air in it, so I'm just going to take my time here. But look at how cool that is. Ha ha! Pretty cool. Yeah, it's going to be cool for an inlay, man. And I'll bring you in closer when I pour that in there. Okay, brought you in closer. I put the logo so you guys can see it the right way. So I'm going to very slowly kind of drizzle this stuff in there. Make sure it gets in all the little nooks and crannies before I pour a whole bunch on there. I need to get one of those little vibration tables. I think that would be really cool to really help this stuff get in there. I could just pour this over the top, but I think I'll sleep better tonight knowing that I made sure that it got in all of these little nooks and crannies here. So I'll probably pour some over the top anyway once it all gets in there, because it is going to shrink a little bit. Be mindful of that. The first time I ever did this and used epoxy, I wasn't aware of how much it actually would shrink. So I ended up having to sand down, obviously, to the level of the epoxy, and then it was it was almost gone. So yeah, lessons learned. You know, there's a first time for everything, I guess. But get in there, you. Of course, I want to be gentle with this stuff too. There's some little pieces there. I basically got through the little pieces that were real brittle or fragile, so I'll be good. Of course, they won't be brittle and fragile after this stuff gets around them. They'll be hard as a rock, which is what we want, obviously. And it's going to be smooth like butter. So, how cool is that though, huh? It's going to be neat. But yeah, I'm just wanting to make sure that I get into all the little nooks and crannies here. And then I'll tap it down, put some more on top, like especially with this stuff here. Make sure that goes in there. You can kind of see it. Kind of smush it down in there too. It's got to get down in there. So this is plenty deep enough though. This is about probably, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through the fretboard. So, and I am definitely not going to be sanding down that low. But, you know, just wanted to make sure. Because, you know, sometime in the future, it may need to be refretted, or maybe she won't like the frets that I put on there. Or something, who knows. But and then when they do that, they'll have to sand it down a little bit, and you know, that type of thing. And I want to make sure that, you know, they have plenty to work with here. You can see it shrinking down there a little bit already. So kind of there. I'm gonna go ahead and smear that down with something. I don't know what yet, haven't found it. Probably just get a little offcut of wood here. Whoop, I moved you. So, I'll go ahead and make sure that gets down in there. That's super, super important. Take my time now, and I won't have to worry later. This is where one of those tables would come in handy. One of those little vibrating tables. Pack that son of a bitch down there. Okay. Make sure I get some more on top here. Isn't that a cool color though? It's really cool. I was going to use this blue, Ooh, look at that. Don't want to make sure we get that in there. Tap it in. Let's see the little air coming out of it. I was going to use this blue, but this is going to be way better. Plus, it's going to kind of match. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to give away all the secrets because I want you to watch these videos. So, kind of, I believe Kristen's watching these videos too. I mean, I would if somebody was making my guitar. So I want her to kind of be surprised toward the end too. I'll do what I can to make that happen as far as the surprises are concerned. But obviously, by the end of the video series, other than the presentation video, she'll have kind of seen the finished guitar. Although, maybe, I just had an idea. Maybe what I'll do is before I put everything on it, all the hardware and everything, I'll do that at the beginning. Oop, I'll move you in here. I'll do that at the beginning of the last video, the presentation video. So that way, she won't have seen that video yet. So when she gets it, it'll be seeing her for the first time. And of course, through the magic of TV, you all will all see that video and her receiving the guitar. So that'll probably be the last guitar. That's what I'm going to do, because I want her to be totally surprised. And I'm not going to say now exactly where we're going to do it, but I think I know where we're going to do it. But so that'll all be, I made way too much. Oops. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a blow dryer, get some of the extra things out of here, the holes if I can, and I'm going to let this sit overnight. This is hardened up nicely overnight, and what I'm going to do is I need to obviously flatten that down. I'm going to run this through my planer. What I did is I took this net blank, my test net blank, and I ran it through my jointer on both sides, so it's perfectly flat. This had a little bow in it because it's not attached to anything. So when I ran it through the planer, it could possibly deflect and not be perfect. So I'm attaching it with super glue and all that stuff, or the tape super glue trick to this, and so now it's nice and flat. And I'm going to run this through the planer, and it's going to plane it as flat as this surface here, which is perfectly flat. So that way I can get this very top coat off. I'm just going to get it to the very like within a 0.5 millimeter of the surface here, just to get this down, because I'm going to cut the fret slots next, and I'm going to be putting this upside down and running this through my fret slotter. So this needs to be perfectly flat in order to do that and cut the fret slots at the right depth. So I'm doing that, so that's what I'm going to show you now. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I do not want to take too much off. Now this is just about perfectly flat. Of course, it needs to be sanded down, but look, the logo looks pretty good, doesn't it? Haha! It's going to look even better than that when I'm done. All right, here we go with the fret slotting. Check out this fretboard. I am super stoked with that logo. And it glows in the dark too, which is really cool. So anyway, I'm not doing this on the CNC machine because it was cutting, it's got a little bit too much deflection on the actual .023 fret bit. It wobbles a little bit back and forth, so it was cutting it too wide. So I don't know how to fix that, but I'm just like, look, I'm just gonna do this the old-fashioned way. I have everything, let's just do it this way. So I'm going to cut this. I'm using the StuMac, I think they call it it's a fret slotting template. These are great. And it's 25.5 is what I have it on. So The reason I wanted this flat was because this is going to be face down on the surface, and I'm going to run it through. So I'll bring you with me, and we'll see what it looks like afterwards, okay? Here we go. Okay. We're gonna go with that